what, by now I was hoping that this video was going to be, great news, here we are, we're working, blah, 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 but we're not. And we've had a lot of frustration, a lot of problems, and I'm here to tell you what's happened. Actually, the good news is we got planning permission. Fantastic. And we were hoping to start work immediately afterwards, but we have had a few problems. So I've got Trevor here. Now Trevor is my project manager, and Trevor is going to explain to us what some of the problems we've had.
Well, the main problems we've had is getting the correct people to do the correct jobs at the right times to meet a schedule.
Why is it generally so hard to get builders at the moment? What's going on?
Well, purely there's a lack of good quality builders. If you don't get the right builder who's got the right experience, you're going to finish it with big problems, and it's going to cost you more money in the long run.
One of the things that was really, that we were concerned about was starting the work in the summer. Maybe it's worth just explaining to people why it's important to start in the summer. What goes wrong if you work in the winter?
If you start work in the winter, you've got the weather conditions against you. You want to start in the good weather so that by the time the bad weather comes and hits you, you're working inside, you're doing a second fix, and you're doing all the internal work. The external work wants to be done outside in good weather, and if it is done outside in good weather, you get a far better job. We managed to get in 3 quotes. The first quote came in, it came through 51 pages long, detailing all the requirements that we need, and basically when we looked at the last page,
3 times, not 20-30% more, 300%, 3 times more than we were expecting.
Yeah.
And that then we could reasonably work out, even given the cost of materials going up and this and the other. So that was one hell of a shock. Needless to say, they haven't got the job. How much does the fact that I'm building a recording studio, what difference does that make?
The problems we're having there is obviously when you bring contractors in to give us a price for the job, and you start talking about recording studios and special equipment going in there, and also sound issues, it's very daunting for some contractors because basically it's not one of their specialised fields. So what it does is, whatever price it could be, they were obviously building in a price to cover what they don't know about, just in case they have problems later on down the line, and they're covering it to make sure that they're not losing money on the job.
The thing is that we kind of know that already, but persuading them that we've got this thing covered is half the problem. So, I mean, one of the things we're going to be doing is I'm going to be getting a lot of advice from people who understand these things, and so we're going to take a lot of that away from them so that we end up with the right job done.
We want a good job, but at the
Just
right kind
keeps
of money.
walking.
Certainly not at 3 times what we originally priced.
Right.
Walking.
Use that in the studio. That would be funny, isn't it? That would be great. And we had lots of problems. It is true that at this point in time, we are beginning to see the light.
Yeah.
We're beginning to see a path through.
Yeah.
So there is a builder that
Yeah.
who you really like. Yeah.
Yeah, I really
Let's
like
talk
them.
about a little bit worth talking
yeah,
about it.
Yeah. We've got one builder in mind
Yeah.
who basically has got all the attributes that we require, but again is busy because he is good.
Now the interesting thing about this builder is he doesn't want to do. He's a good builder, but he doesn't want to get involved in some parts of the job which he doesn't feel he's got the expertise in. So one of the things here with building, it turns out these building firms, most of them, subcontract loads and loads of the work out to other people.
Correct.
So one of the things we're looking at doing is take on the subcontracting ourselves.
Purely take a builder who we think can do the main structural work, and then when it comes later on down the line, it'll be up to us to find the right people for the right job, the right plumbers, the right electricians to come in, but we're going to have big problems of coordinating times so it doesn't slow the job down.
Well, the other thing that's really important here is all his steel frame experience, because don't forget, in this barn where we're standing now, what we're actually going to do is put a big steel frame in here and then hang the building, hang the studio off that frame. And you know, it might be worth explaining why that's a good idea from your perspective.
Yeah, well, what we decided was purely to keep the character of the barn and not disturb the existing walls and infrastructure of the barn, that we would build a portal frame, steel frame inside the barn, which I've done many times on grade 2 and grade 1 listed buildings.
If we can only get started on this job, it's going to be fantastic.
Patience is a virtue. We've got to get the right people at the right time to get the right job.
Yeah, absolutely. So for all the frustration that we've had, actually, for all the frustration we've had, how do you feel?
Well, it's a challenge, but nothing's easy in this life, and basically, if it wasn't a challenge, everybody would be able to do it, wouldn't they?
That's true. And if it wasn't a challenge, it wouldn't be fun.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Look, you know, I'm really glad you're on board, and yeah. I mean, we weren't expecting it to be all plain sailing. I was hoping to have got started, but you know, we are where we are. Thank you very much for agreeing to talk on camera.
Okay, thank you.
He sleeps where he lays and eats what he gets. Here's what they say, but he lives. Well, some good news. Since we recorded that last piece of film, we've actually now found a builder and we've started work. A bit later than we expected, but we have started work. And he keeps walking, 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 walking with his ball. Walking, 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 walking from it all. Walking from his history, walking from his pain. Walking
See, the work's already started. Just have a look at the barn itself. It's nothing but empty. The whole place has been completely gutted. Now, the work we've already done is, you may notice we've actually raised the side of the walls a little bit on both sides, and eventually, and this will help us with the headroom in the studio. We've actually going to change the angle of the roof here to slightly less steep, to give us a bit more headroom in the main studio itself, which will of course be up at this level here. Gutting it was quite interesting, actually. As they took the floors out and took the ceilings out and took the roof off this place, it was just so much stuff was found. There was rat shit all over the place, literally rat shit everywhere. It was quite rank. Piles and piles of rubble, lots of crap that we had to take out, get shipped off. Some local farmers have helped us because they've taken a lot of the rubble, which was really good because it saved us a small fortune there. It was quite an operation. Then afterwards we had to secure these walls and make sure that they were safe and they were good and they were going to stand up. And you can notice that there's been a lot of repointing and work done to just make the four walls more solid, so that we can do what we're going to do for the next phase. And remember that
We've used some blocks on the inside there. You might be asking why we've done that. Well, remember, none of that will be seen because there's going to be this iron frame inside it. And between the iron frame and that wall, there will be sound insulation, then there'll be another wall there. So no one's ever going to see these blocks again once we've got the structure inside this building. So, but the walls themselves have got to be solid, have got to withstand, because we're changing the weight distribution in this building. We're changing a lot of things. So we've had engineers and we've had all sorts of people in to make sure that the walls stay good and stay up and do what they meant. The outside wall, which will become a facade in this building, but the outside wall remains where it's been standing for 400 years. We want it to stand for another 400 years. Slight last minute panic as we realized that that door was too close to that wall there and that we were going to have problems getting equipment in if we made the door a little smaller. So we've had to think a bit about what it's going to be like getting equipment into this studio. What are we going to do? We've got that door there, and then about in the middle here, the iron frame's there. So but in the middle here, we're actually going to put the floor of the thing will be a fake floor, and we'll have a hoist, which will come down. If there's any equipment that we need to move up, we will literally hoist it up to the next level. It's a shell of a building now. The next thing that's going to happen is we're going to put some insulation in the floor, and we're going to recover the floor here. Then we'll put the portal frame into the building, the steel frame from which we're going to hang the actual studio, and that should go in the next few days, few weeks, and from there on, once that's in place, it'll be a question of getting the initial floor down, getting the roof back on it, sealing it, so that we can then work inside on the actual studio. And hopefully I'll have an update for you then. But this is very exciting, very good news that we've actually got to this stage now. It was a bit touch and go there. We didn't think we'd be able to start work this year. At one stage I didn't think we were going to be starting work at all this year, but we're up and running, and soon we'll have the studio.
Walking from his history, walking from his pain, walking from the only thing that he knew had to change. He just keeps walking.